These card readings are for your entertainment and are laced with my personal opinions and perspectives. I'm not qualified to offer medical or legal advice. Seek professionals for legal, mental, or physical health needs, and know that while cards can give you major insights, ultimately, your moves are yours to make. Hello and welcome to the Get Read podcast, the show where you ask a question of the cards and you get read. I'm your reader. I'm Amanda, but my friends are calling me Andy, and you can call me Andy too if you want. So here we are. It is the Taurus Lunar Eclipse. We're closing out this Scorpio Taurus eclipse cycle. It's on Uranus. The sun's on Mercury. This is really intensely chaotic energy. This is energy of like sudden revelations and realizations out of nowhere, really deep, intense personal insights, but in the midst of collective chaos. So we've got some questions for the cards here today that y'all have submitted, and we're going to see what's going on for y'all with this eclipse. Let's get a little lay of the land here with the eclipses. First, I just want to say how it is my absolute joy every season to do tarot readings for the signs of the zodiac and then watch as the astrology plays out for each sign throughout the season, the way those readings end up creepily correlating, even though I do them like way before the season, and I can't even like project that far ahead into the astrology. So when it actually all ends up lining up and making sense, it's cool. And these eclipses are a perfect example. So Tuesday, November 8th, here we are at the Taurus Lunar Eclipse, which means the moon is in Taurus, conjunct Uranus, the planet of upsets and lightning strikes and surprises and shakeups, innovation, creativity, things like this. And it's directly opposite, eclipsing the sun in Scorpio on top of Mercury. Mercury is giving us those flash revelations, insights, thoughts we haven't had before, or giving us a need to communicate, especially communicating something very personal about our sun. The fall shift readings for the signs of Taurus and Scorpio are basically this eclipse in a sentence. So the Taurus shift reading is called Careen with Confidence. Careening makes me feel like I'm flying through the air, but with confidence, with some sense of like core solidity in myself. And that to me is Uranus careening through the air in Taurus with a sense of core confidence. Opposite Scorpio, the Scorpio fall shift reading is called Full Disclosure. The sun and Mercury, the planet of communication, together at this eclipse are giving us this opportunity for full disclosure, to speak very clearly, or to even just get some sort of insight that fully discloses something to us that maybe then we want to fully disclose to somebody else. So check out those shift readings if you want a little peek into how this eclipse might be affecting you. Okay. You can find those readings on YouTube, the first like 10-15 minutes. If you want to go deeper, the full readings are in the shifting space where the members over there are actively watching those shifts, sharing insights, and really tracking them as they are unfolding with the astro. So that's where we are. We are careening with confidence for some sort of full disclosure, and I'm hoping these readings today can answer your questions and help give you what you need to careen with confidence and maybe experience some full disclosure. Okay. First question.
Hey Amanda, Gemini Sun, Virgo Moon, Leo Rising here. This lunar eclipse, I'm wondering what the cards have to say about creating or maintaining a sense of internal stability in the midst of a lot of, personal and collective external change and instability. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, that's cool. I'm, by the way, using the Dark Exact Tarot today here, and I just split the deck right on the Ace of Pentacles and the Tower. And that's essentially what you're asking. How do I maintain Ace of Pentacles type internal stability, which is the Taurus energy we just talked about a little in the intro, amidst the collective chaos and shakeups and upheaval energy that Uranus is creating in the otherwise stable and secure sign of Taurus. So here we have that dichotomy right off the bat. How do we do it? How do we maintain a sense of roots when the lightning is striking, the storm is raging, the winds are blowing all around us? Great question. It's a question I think we could all use the answer to right now. Let's see if we can get some specific clarity for you, our dear caller. How can you maintain a sense of stability, centeredness in the chaos? Interesting. Three of Wands. Looking ahead, maybe looking beyond this moment, keeping a wider perspective, keeping your larger plans and schemes and dreams in mind. That go well beyond this chaotic eclipse moment. Okay, so let's hold that there, keeping an eye on the horizon. What else? How else can you maintain stability? Oh wow, Three of Wands, Three of Pentacles, and the Hanged One. Okay, so this is what we've got. So it seems like there's a lot up in the air right now. A lot of things, these threes are incredibly creative opportunities, but they also, a three forms a triangle, and a triangle is an incredibly stable geometric shape. There's a strong equal flow between all 3 points that when used in numbers is actually incredibly stable, right? That's how bridges are built. Okay, we're onto something here. You have the Three of Fire and the Three of Earth. The Three of Fire keeps you excited, passionate, and interested in what is to come. The Three of Pentacles keeps you grounded in the reality that you need to get there, like the work that needs to be done to meet those plans or meet those dreams, those passions. And maybe even like the tangible resources, including money, people, opportunities, quite literally just like plans needed in order to meet the goals that you see for yourself on the horizon. And all of that is hanging in the limbo of the Hanged One energy here, pictured in this deck as a rose hanging out to dry. It really feels to me like, honestly, sit this eclipse out as much as you can. Hanged One energy is Pisces energy for me. It is this energy of like complete surrender to the tides. I'm getting this image of like the waves crashing at the surface in the middle of a storm. Like you can sense there's a storm coming, and so you drop your weight, your density, your mass, your energy, or your form, like down below the surface where everything is raging. You go to this deeper space where you can hang and float in suspension. And I just got the image of like, in order to sink a little bit, you have to let some air out of your body. You know, when you take a deep breath and you go underwater all that air inside of your lungs is actually creating buoyancy and keeping you up at that surface. So there's something sort of interesting here about like, if you're like holding your breath and bracing yourself and creating all of this rigidity and tension in your body, you're going to actually keep yourself up at the surface amidst all the tumult and waves and storm and chaos, where I think you want to actually drop down below that. So breathe out, like let a little bit of air out. And with that, release some of the tension so that you can just float a little bit below all of that activity where the currents are untouched by the chaos, and you can just hang. And part of you just hanging is keeping maybe your mind or your tasks or your hands busy, focused on the points beyond this eclipse moment, the points beyond the chaos of the current astrology. Ground in the real, actual plans you can make right now. Even if that's just a list of things to do today. And those things might be take a walk, make lunch, make dinner for the week, read a book, take some notes, whatever. Or they might be, okay, let's create a 3-year plan for this thing that I want to create in the future. But I want to be clear, I'm not somebody that tends to want to do any kind of like intention setting during an eclipse. I'm much more of this hanged one energy where I'm just going to go ahead and float beneath this, let this astrology pass over me, like let the planets change and shift their energy before I come at anything too concretely. So it's sort of like the Three of Wands and the Three of Pentacles is a background program. Like let your thoughts and excitement and passions and like practical ideas about how you can create and meet the goals you see for yourself, let them be this sort of like background water that is like holding you in this place, letting you sort of rest and hang on that. I guess just like trust that the plans you've already put in motion are in motion and it's going to be okay. And you can come back to them and revisit them more intentionally when all of this has passed. But for now, like hang, trust. Let's get you one final card here from the postcards from the liminal space. Oh my gosh, the first card just like flipped out. Whoa, you wished for this? Interesting. Yeah, it is a little bit, and we're seeing like a birthday cake, by the way, with 3 candles, and we have the Three of Wands, Three of Pentacles, and 2 balloons tied together. You wished for this is what it says. So I'm just wondering if it's sort of again, I'm not advocating necessarily setting any particular intentions or like making wishes during this particular eclipse. It's a little chaotic for my taste, unless you're doing chaos magic, in which case Uranus be with you. But you wished for this feels past tense. You already set the intention. Like remember when you wished for this and you blew out the candle. Now let it unfold, right? Let it run. Let this this wish, this intention that you set already, you've already put the plans in motion for this, is what I get from the Three of Wands, Three of Pentacles. Now just let it play out. Don't do anything. Remember that you already made the plans. You already set the balls in motion here. The wheels are turning. Trust that. Sit this one out. Find the deeper water and let it hang. Maybe you quite literally take a bath and feel yourself floating in the water and whisper reminders to yourself that the plans have been put in motion long before this chaotic astrology of this particular Taurus lunar eclipse. It's already in the works. You're good. Sit this one out. Hang, let it hang. Okay. I love that reading. That was really helpful, and some advice I really want to take too. I hope that was helpful for you. Keep me posted. Okay, next.
Hey Amanda, so I have a question that pertains to relationships. This eclipse, or the eclipses that have been happening on my 1st and 7th house axis of body and self and identity and relationships. And in the past, I have found that the beginning of relationships, specifically the infatuation phase, is extremely dysregulating, and I become very fearful. And I used to drink through it to really manage my fear and emotions around it. Now I do not drink, and I'm curious what or how this experience of dating is going to be. What's it going to look like? What's it going to feel like? How is it going to be different? Because there's a part of me that just feels so confused on how to date without substances. So yeah, I'd love to get your insight and advice, and I'm excited to get read by you.
Okay, great question. Thank you for calling in. And those of you that are watching the video version, you already know, the cards are talking as you are asking your question. So we're going to stop here. I've already pulled 2 cards, and the 2 of Cups is in the bottom of the deck. Here's the thing. So as you were talking about typically turning to drinking as a coping mechanism for this infatuation anxiety phase of relationships, the 8 of Cups came out. And so literally here we have too much drinking, maybe. But we do have a lot of cups, and they're all stacked here. And typically the 8 of Cups it's like a hefty either emotional investment or emotional experience that you've become very accustomed to. And I've been reading it this way recently, and it seems to fit exactly with your question. So I'm loving that. I do Sincerely the Tarot. Y'all know about Sincerely, right? Y'all listening to my podcast, probably there's a lot of overlap with Jordan's work, but you all know about Sincerely the Tarot. If you don't, please learn about it. It's this incredible monthly offering where Jordan pulls a card for 78 people, and they all get 1 card from the deck in the mail, along with a ritual to do and an oracle card that Jordan creates. And anyway, lovely offering, highly recommend. But the 8 of Cups was my card for last month in October, and what I finally realized about it was this way of a certain emotional state within me that I was just really used to, and I didn't realize how invested I was in that emotional state of being until I realized I could release it. So this correlates to what you're saying, is maybe this way of that infatuation phase being so stressful and so intense, and the ways that you've grown accustomed to coping with it being just that emotional state that you're used to, and then giving up drinking, sort of, removing your accustomed coping mechanism. Suddenly now you're at the Fool. You're at a complete new beginning. You are essentially starting over and having to relearn how to do this, how to date, how to be in relationship. And specifically, we have all these cups here, which tells me it's you have an opportunity here to relearn or rediscover how you actually feel when you meet somebody new, 2 of Cups, and start experiencing a level of intimacy together. I'm starting to wonder, not only is this just like a brand new experience of relationships, you know, Eight of Cups, leaving drinking behind. So like a sober connection and what that means. But I'm also wondering actually if there's some, what am I trying to say? There's some aspect of your experience of the infatuation stage that could also shift now that you are meeting people from a sober space. And I'm not saying suddenly there's no more infatuation stage, because, you know, I've dated and I don't think it's really totally possible when that like momentum of feelings starts. It is easier said than done to just say like, okay, I'm not going to engage in the infatuation stage. But I do wonder if like there's a reframe within the infatuation stage that could help you disconnect from habitual emotional patterns that, like, I don't know, maybe there is such a thing here, especially since we do have the Fool card, of going too far too fast. And that, like, what's the underlying anxiety of the infatuation stage for you? Is it that historically things have moved too far too fast and then you end up in too deep, in deeper than you want to be? And that's the underlying worry, fear, stress. It's like, if you can trust yourself not to over infatuate in relationship, or to like let yourself feel all of the amazing, like sexy, exciting sweetness of the infatuation stage, while trusting yourself enough within those feelings, you know, okay, like I'm working through it here with you. I don't know. This stuff is really complicated, but I will say that the Fool in this deck, there are two Fool cards. There's the Sunflower Sprout, which is this like very, very nascent, you know, first time type energy. And then there's the Fool card that comes after the entire major arcana has been experienced. And that's a full-grown sunflower that is also experiencing a new beginning. You are getting the seedling here, which tells me you haven't done this before. This is super, super, super new for you. So let's turn to, sorry, I was gonna say let's turn to the postcards from the liminal space, but on the bottom of the deck I saw snake medicine. Of course now I can't find it because I already shuffled it back in, but snake medicine is basically like a bunch of vials like up on some shelves, and snake medicine reminds me of homeopathy, vaccinations, and the phrase hair of the dog, which is perhaps a little bit apt here since you quit drinking. There's something here about like that skin that you shed, the poison that you are no longer engaging in, or like the thing that was poisonous to you that you've determined is poisonous. Like trust the healing that you have experienced by shedding the skin of drinking to cope. You know, like you're inoculated basically is what I wanted to say. And I feel like what if that helped you trust that you're going to be okay? To feel the feelings that you are experiencing. I'm hearing talk about this with the person you're dating. Talk about this with the person you're dating. Talk about your fears. This is coming from the Two of Cups. Like tell them very full, very innocently, very transparent, you know? Like tell them, hey, listen, full disclosure. Oh, here we go. Scorpio reading for the lunar eclipse. Full disclosure. Oh, and the Fool, the Taurus shift reading for the Taurus eclipse, careen with confidence, you know, like leap off the edge of the cliff into something new that you've never done before in a way you've never experienced it, with the confidence to fully disclose your fears and fully disclose where you're at with this. And maybe, you know, like when you start seeing someone new and your guys are starting to feel that infatuation thing, y'all can just talk about it. Get it out in the air, and maybe that'll help deflate some of that loaded energy around it. Okay, we have to get you a postcard from the liminal space. A little bit of advice here for our caller. Oh, interesting. It's not my monkeys, not my circus. And we got a family of monkeys hanging out in the trees, in the treetops. So yeah, like in what way can you disengage from extra drama around the dating process? The Fool is the kind of clean slate, the kind of new beginning that is profoundly unattached. Like I'm getting this image of just like lightness, you know, like I'm not engaging in drama. I've got this very sort of simple way of viewing things. I am open to feeling everything that comes my way and experiencing whatever it is that I choose, discernment, choose to engage in. You know, it's not just like, okay, any dating person, any person that comes my way to date, I'm excited to experience. No, you get to absolutely choose who you Two of Cups with, you know, like who you share your emotional, spiritual energy with. Absolutely. So once you think you've found someone worthy of these kinds of exchanges and conversations, okay, great. How can you stay light? You know, again, like I'm getting just this like lightness of being, profoundly unattached. Maybe what I'm saying is keep it casual, you know, like maybe it doesn't have to go super one-on-one, super deep, super intense right off the bat. Of course, like that's coming from someone who sort of can't help but do that in relationships to some degree. But like I think back on my dating life and I'm like, dang, I wish I could have kept it a little more casual at times, taken things a little less seriously, and maybe I wouldn't have gotten wrapped up in like the first drama I encounter with someone. Again, not my monkeys, not my circus. I'm gonna keep myself in the treetops, you know, up in the air, and just like experience the emotions that I feel good experiencing in this. And once I start to feel that anxiety creep in, or that intensity that like weights me back down and brings, because the Eight of Cups is a sense of heaviness and weightedness and density to my experience, that's a time to maybe talk it out, or like get really, really honest with yourself and the person you're seeing about what you want and what doesn't feel good. And maybe that will, and like really navigating things without drinking or without other kinds of substances is like choosing to do it in a way that might be harder than you've experienced in the past, but so worth it, you know? Careen with confidence in your dating experiences. Being willing to fully disclose your feelings, get them up and out of you, Eight of Cups, so that you don't have to carry the weight all locked up inside of you. And you're saying this is your first house, seventh house axis, so you're either, you know, a Scorpio rising or a Taurus rising. That axis can hold everything to themselves. Let it out. And that's where choosing wisely in terms of who you date will really help you feel like you can do that. I hope this was helpful. Keep it light. Keep it fun. Next.
Hi, Amanda. Thank you for this offering. I'm on a walk with the dog, so apologies about any background noise.
I thought this would be a great opportunity to ask you to see if the cards and spirit guides have any insights or messages that they want to help illuminate around this question of, well, it feels like my soul is kind of like jumping up and down and waving their hands and are kind of being like, hey, look over here at this thing, like look over here at this thing, I'm trying to show you this thing, and I have been for a little bit of time now, maybe a lot of time, I don't know. And it feels related to something where it's like the soul is like, please understand this thing about yourself, please, like you maybe have an idea of it, or you kind of keep side-eyeing it, but like, please actually understand this thing about yourself, and potentially about like my creativity or a skill set or something. And yeah, it's not an urgent thing, but I thought maybe there would be something here, an episode this week. Thanks, Amanda.
Oh yeah, okay. All right, so you're feeling like something out there in the universe is like absolutely screaming at you, and you maybe I can offer some outside perspective on this. So first of all, what came out in the pre-shuffle here is the Lover's energy. I mean, look at it. We're looking at an eclipse. How perfect. Okay, so something tells me the timing is right for this. The Lovers is also Gemini energy, and I know who this caller is. So Gemini, you know, like Gemini energy is important to you. It's in your chart. It's useful. And of course, we're having a Mars retrograde in Gemini. So like, yes, all of these things. What does Mars retrograde in Gemini mean to you? What is it touching in your birth chart? What house is it in? What planets is it affecting? Not only Gemini planets, but all of the mutables, creating squares there, oppositions. Okay, so maybe a little deep dive into Mars retrograde in Gemini might help you there. Eclipse. So something could be changing, shifting about, I was gonna say how you are seeing, because like this eclipse, I've really felt this experience of suddenly I wake up one morning, or like I have some sort of interesting conversation with a friend. I go to sleep, and then the next morning I wake up and I really feel changed, you know, like nothing, I didn't do anything, but just like getting a different perspective on it. I wake up and I feel like that energy I was carrying before is gone. And that's the eclipse. It's like, oh wow, that thing I was struggling with just got eclipsed out. Like overnight, by the time I closed my eyes and reopened them, boom, I'm like feeling differently. I'm seeing things differently. I'm behaving differently in the blink of an eye. And that's part of the energy that I'm getting from this Lover's card for you. But I'm also wondering, if your interests are shifting, or like if there's something about your creativity in relationship to your Gemini energy that is a little switchy. You know what I mean? Like is a little bit like, okay, I'm interested in this for a while and then I need to change it up. Or like I do this thing, but like in order to keep my creative energy fed, I need to be doing different projects. I need to have my hands in a lot of pies. I need to be able to change things up, switch things up, change gears as often as I feel. You know? Like, do you have the experience in your creative life where you wake up one morning and you're just not interested in that thing anymore? And you're more now like going whole hog on something else? Okay, let's table that and pull you more cards. Okay, helping to illuminate, like specifically, let's ask, it's just interesting that you said it's something so glaring, and that's why I'm like, it's this Gemini energy. It's such a huge part of your chart that you like can't even see it. It is something very glaring, and maybe it will be revealed here at this eclipse. Okay, let's see if like we can connect in here with the energy you are experiencing as your spirit guides. Like, what are you all trying to tell? What are you trying to say? What are you trying to get across? Let's see if we can get it clearly. Five of Cups. Focusing on what's not working, or like what happens when something's not working. Like, how do you react when something that you thought was going to work doesn't, and you're experiencing disappointment? Okay, interesting. Death card on the bottom of the deck there. There's that Scorpio energy from the eclipse. One more card. Ten of Cups. Yeah, that's the switch. This is what I'm sensing. Is there something here where, like, do you see the switch from night to day, from Five of Cups to Ten of Cups, from like this experience of like grief, disappointment, maybe even like a little bit of regret, sadness, like melancholy, like, oh man, like I set up these 5 cups and then 3 of them didn't work. Like they spilled, it went everywhere and it made kind of a mess. You know, and like carrying the weight of that. And holding the grief and the sadness, the feelings around it. And then just like switching, you know, switching to Ten of Cups, switching to something more that you know is more emotionally fulfilling for you. Something that contains the fire, because essentially the 5 of Cups, when those cups empty, the fire is gone. It's like, oh man, like that thing I felt so much fire for, like it's not filling my cup anymore. And that sucks. That hurts and that's confusing, you know? But maybe there's just like, you know, in the 5 of Cups, this story of like, if you're focusing on the cups that have spilled, you're going to miss the 2 cups that are still upright right behind you. And it's like, just turn around, grab the 2 cups that are still full and move on. Maybe that's kind of part of the message of the 10 of Cups. Well, like, okay, so your fire went out in one area. Well, like find the light. Where is the light still on? Where is there still a flame? And move towards that, because if you do, you might find like a full setup. You know, 10 of Cups. This 10 of Cups in particular, we've got, you know, all of the cups just set up with that flaming cup right in the center. And it's just like, it's almost like waiting for you. Knight of Wands. Don't be afraid to move. 2 of Wands under that. Don't be afraid to move through a different doorway. Don't be ashamed to move. Don't be ashamed to switch. Don't be ashamed to move, to change your mind. To go, you know what, that doesn't bring me joy anymore. That's it. That doesn't interest me anymore. And instead of like feeling guilt about it, 5 of Cups, or like regret or sadness or dwelling in that too long, it's like, listen, you got Gemini energy, just switch it up. Just go ahead and be with that duality that exists within you. And like Knight of Wands is an energy that goes where the creative passion leads them, you know, like, oh, well, I thought I was staying a week, but I'm leaving in the morning because I'm feeling like the hooves, you know, like the image of a horse, like my legs need to move. So I was going to stay here for a whole week, but it's not filling my cup anymore. Like my legs need to move. So I'm going to go through this doorway actually, you know, 2 of Wands, I'm going to choose. And that might feel like a bold thing to do. It kind of is. Okay. Let's get you a postcard from the liminal space. I saw this when we were shuffling, so I think I'm going to take it. Self-doubt. The enemy of intuition is self-doubt. Okay, self-doubt is the enemy of intuition. And we see a person standing on a train platform. And they hesitated. They doubted their instinct and they didn't make the train. And so now maybe there's a little bit of Five of Cups, a little bit of disappointment of like, God, if I just would have gotten on that train, who knows where it could have taken me, Knight of Wands. If I would have just gone in, you know, like moved through that doorway, Two of Wands, and onto this train, who knows where it could have carried me. But I doubted myself. I hesitated. I didn't do it. And that's okay, but I'm in Five of Cups. Okay, that's interesting. The enemy of intuition is self-doubt. So it's like in that, there's something in your Gemini energy that makes you doubt yourself, which makes sense. I mean, like, I experience Gemini energy in this way of like wanting to, in a similar way, like wanting to sort of be a Renaissance person, like to change things up. Because my interests do change quite often. And it's easy to carry shame around that or to doubt that that's the right thing to do. I just want to share the bottom of the deck here is the card, The Veil is Thin. And we have someone using a Ouija. So the fact that you came into this question talking about spirit contact and like contacting guidance from beyond, this feels like confirmation that that is happening here in this reading. So I really hope it is. Okay, I hope that this is resonating. Interesting. Be your own sugar daddy. And we have a sugar packet pouring out and turning into money, which tells me you have the power to make your own choices. Lover's card, Gemini energy. And whatever choice you make, as long as it's towards what actually excites you, is supported. But it is about not doubting yourself and just completely going all in on your intuition and letting that lead your choices. Your intuition here is showing up to me as the Ten of Cups. And the Knight of Wands. Maybe do a deep dive on the Knight of Wands. Like pull the Knight of Wands out of every deck you own and let them speak, you know? That might speak to your Gemini energy too, like letting all of the personalities and expressions of the Knight of Wands come alive. Okay, all right. That was awesome. I hope it's helpful. Keep me posted. Next.
Hey Amanda, I was wondering what line of work would be the most fulfilling for me. I've had a ton of different jobs in all kinds of industries, and I'm wondering what would be next for me. I'm Scorpio Sun, Virgo Rising, Libra Moon. Thank you.
A fellow Libra Moon. Scorpio Sun. Yeah. Eclipse. Eclipsing. Okay. So you've been eclipsing then for a little while now. And you're asking this very simple question about your career, which like hilariously already came out. Page of Swords to me would be like a question, an inquiry, something that you are wondering, seeking information, something you want to learn about. And then we have Ten of Pentacles, which to me is like career goals, even like financial future type goals, setting up something that you could feel is like your legacy, the impact you could make for your own future, or maybe even like futures beyond you. Interesting. We'll put those two cards up at the top. Okay. Let's see if we can get some career specifics here. Interesting. we also have the Four of Pentacles now. So you have the Four of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles. Both are cards that talk about setting yourself up for financial security, material security. Like, what is that about? You said you've had a lot of jobs. Interesting. The World card on the bottom of the deck. Okay, let's just, yeah, Queen of Swords. We're on it. Queen of Swords, Page of Swords is sort of like, yeah, this is the message. Just give it now. You've got the Four of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles, and the World. The World card is Saturn. So I'm wondering about your Saturn energy. Where is Saturn in your chart? How is Saturn expressing? Where are you in relation to your Saturn return? If you're already past it, what did you learn in your Saturn return? What house is that in for you, etc.? But there's this Saturnian energy of the World right in the center. And this is with the Page of Swords present, this is a learning curve. This is some sort of evolution or growth that is a maturing process. The maturity it takes to make choices in your career that actually set you up for financial security and help you build, like create a foundation with the Four of Pentacles. Interesting that I keep saying Four of Cups. And this is interesting because you're saying you've had a lot of different jobs, you've changed jobs frequently, like, hi, relatable, so relatable. And the Four of Cups is a sense of not feeling satisfied, like always a little bit thirsty, like a little bit like the things I'm doing are cool for a while and then I get bored and then I realize like, this isn't quite right. And it is this energy of just like always searching, like never quite feeling that sense of satisfaction. And maybe so the Four of Cups might just be coming out here to acknowledge that that's an experience that you may have had and that it's okay. But, and like that can be true about your experience and that can exist over here. But there's a conversation that is very clear here about creating a strong financial foundation that you can build on to like put a roof over your head for the future, for years to come, because I'm looking at the Four of Pentacles as like the foundation that the house is built on. And then the Ten of Pentacles in this deck is all 10 pentacles are lined up in an archway. But first you need to lay the foundation. You can't just start building above the ground when you haven't set up the post and beams, like the skeleton of the house. So something tells me it's important to set up the basics right now. And to maybe like, the Page of Swords is such a learning energy for me that maybe there's something here for you about like learning, maybe some financial literacy or like, I don't know. But look at the World card. It is these 4 points, the 4 elements, the Four of Pentacles. The 4 is the security, the base, the foundation, and you've got to put, I think like that's the moment you have an opportunity right now to put that in place so that then eventually down the line you can start sort of like laying the artful stonework of the Ten of Pentacles, creating like the beautiful archways and gardens and like things that you can relax and enjoy within. But the foundation comes first, is what I'm getting there. And the Aries reading for the Aries shift reading I did for the fall 2022, this season, is like glaring at me. It's called seasons to come, and it talks about this. It actually talks about like you are at the beginning stages right now, and you are still very much learning how to set yourself up for the future, for seasons to come. And so like it's important to keep your mind on those longer terms and focus on laying the basic structure and getting the basics. Something about like keeping it simple and get the basics. Watch that Aries reading. And like what is the Aries part of your chart? What does that have to do with this conversation? Okay. Let's get you a postcard from the liminal space. Too many. Okay, I'm just gonna pause because you asked a very specific question, which was like, what kinds of careers should I look at, or like would I be good at? And like, let's try to read these cards literally. You know, like I don't think the tarot necessarily communicates that way, but let's pretend for a moment that it's speaking literally. I would say it could be some career that has to do with either finance or like literal homes, since I just spent the last like 10 minutes talking about foundations and archways and like using a house metaphor. So like, I don't know, are you interested in real estate in any way? Are you interested in like home construction or building? Are you interested in, or maybe this is having to do with like finance, but there's something about the Page of Swords that is maybe your role in it all, because the Page of Swords is the messenger, the person that does the communicating. Like I'm thinking about a real estate agent I'm not saying you should go into real estate necessarily. But there is a lot of energy here of like foundations and structures and like creating stability for the long term and like helping to set that up, and maybe being like either a teacher, like teaching that, or like learning about that, or being the sort of go-between messenger communicator that helps something go from its basic structure to its like long-term fulfillment. Like, are you someone who sets up systems and is like helps to bring all of the pieces together to create systems that can last for a long time? I don't know. These are questions I have, but the World card is here to help you graduate. You know, like it's here to help you kind of next level your career path. Okay, we have to get you a postcard from the liminal space. I hope this is helpful. Interesting. Ooh, care. Close the portal. Yeah, I mean, the World card could be that. You've got these like brackets that could very easily be like closing in. Close the portal is very eclipsy, by the way. You know, blowing out a candle and then... Actually, I just got an image of like blowing out a candle and then it relights on its own. So I'm just wondering, like, what in this eclipse moment for you, and in this moment of wondering about your career, like, what are you closing out? What are you ready to say no to? To, you know, blow out that candle, and like, that's a spell, you know, like that's spell work. You are blowing out the candle and saying, this is done. It is finished. And what would that open you up to? Page of Swords, keep questioning, keep asking, be the curious seeker learner when it comes to approaching this question. And if there's any portals that need to close, go ahead and let that close and see where this might take you. I hope that was helpful. Close the portal, graduation, the world. Yeah, like deep breath. Okay, It's time for the next level. It's time for the next thing. And whatever that is needs to be more long-term, needs to be more of a strong, supportive base. Okay. All right. I hope that was helpful. Y'all, thank you so much for calling into the Get Read podcast. If you did not get your voicemail played on the podcast, you didn't get your cards read this time, keep trying, like get me in 2 weeks. I do these about every 2 weeks, every time the moon is new or full. So you can stay up to date with that by following me on Instagram at unseenhandstarot. I'll alert you when it's time to leave me a voicemail for the next episode, and just keep trying. I get lots of questions every week, which I love listening to. Thanks so much for responding. And if you keep leaving me voicemails, chances are you might just get read. All right, y'all. Take it easy this eclipse. We'll talk in a couple weeks.